Phoenix here, recapping Club World Cup, Matchday 1, everything that we have learned so far. First and foremost, can we stop? Can we stop with this cringe over-hating? It's absolutely pathetic. Just like I mentioned before the tournament, the same thing again, led by fans whose clubs aren't in this competition, whose clubs were not good enough to qualify for this competition, just sitting there hating and crying and moaning and whining. It's been a fantastic start so far. Every single tournament, usually in the first match, things start slow and they pick up the pace. It's been incredible to see a clash of different cultures. I mean, the first obvious thing we have learned is that the gap between the European teams and the rest, especially South American and Saudi, is not as big as we thought it was. That's for definite. As a result, it adds even more prestige to the competition. It will happen once every 4 years. I understand the part about overplaying the players, but these type of matches, whether we like it or not, to me at least, are way more exciting than seeing big clubs facing off against the super low level teams between 19 or between 18, 19 and 20, especially in the big leagues. I would reduce the leagues from 20 to 18 teams, the top 5 leagues. I understand the repercussions that could have, but you're telling me it's fun even for clubs or fans of clubs like Southampton or Monza, Leicester over the past season, watching their team just get trashed every single week. Did the gap go so big that, whether we like it or not, it makes more sense? I would much, much rather see the big clubs play in these kind of matches. They're a lot more even, and we need to stop with the single-minded culture. The biggest criticism I have has been on referees. I think the referees have been very poor and very terrible overall so far. The amount of times they should just let the play go on, but instead they don't play advantage, bring it back, ridiculous. Ellas, let's get straight into it. Obviously, Group A, I predicted was going to be the toughest group to call. I fear for Messi and Inter Miami. They've drew to Al Ahly, who on paper are the weakest team, and they looked second best in that game. They have to play against Porto and Palmeiras coming up. They have a lot of work to do here, cause for concern. But when the GOAT is on the pitch, anything can happen. Palmeiras looked decent. I picked them to finish first. They looked the best out of these 4 teams. I am going to stick with my prediction of them top in this group and Porto finishing second. I hope I'm wrong, but I can't see Inter Miami going through at the moment. Then, of course, Group B, we're seeing the best team in the world yet again run Wyatt. As an Inter fan, when I looked at this, I'm like, okay, maybe they are that good. I've been questioning whether PSG are that good, whether we made them look better than what they actually were. They went on and trashed Atletico. It was a different type of game, obviously, to the one we played, but it's pretty obvious, pretty undisputed. They are the best team in the world, and they have a massive advantage compared to most of the other teams in the sense they haven't brought any new additions, and obviously they've kept the same manager, kept the same team. I got them reaching the final. I'm definitely sticking with it based on what I've seen. I got this game wrong. I thought Atletico would do a much better job, but no. And of course, these guys, on one hand, you gotta respect it. They don't care, Bayern. They don't care. It doesn't matter who you are. They could play against literal farmers. They're gonna go at 100%. Olise summed it up at the interview. He does not feel bad for the Oakland players. They just don't care. Moving on, of course, then to the following day, Chelsea versus LAFC. I was very surprised at LAFC. Well, not very, because I did say they're decent. They're the best MLS team. But they caused Chelsea problems. The problem was the end product, which is a common theme from most of these smaller teams playing in here, so to speak. Their end product has been lacking. That's what they need to improve if they want to go through. But with Chelsea, I was mega impressed with Cucurella again. Is it too soon to say, or I've been kind of banging on the door about this, but he is a top 3 left back in the world at the moment. I don't think there's any question about that. I was very surprised at how well the LAFC midfield done against Chelsea. It's like Lavia looked out of his depth. Caicedo was not as dominant as he was. Neto was fantastic, of course. Madueke is trash as ever. Palmer, if I speak, they'll lock me up, because I've noticed with Chelsea fans, you know, they'll trash on the players they don't like, but the players they like, they don't say anything. Palmer, yet again, with a disaster class, but alas. Fantastic cameo from Liam Delap off the bench, and of course, Enzo Fernandez changed the game when he came on. This one pleasantly surprised me, Liam. Keep an eye on this. I do expect him to start in the next game. And we'll see. But yeah, LAFC have to improve their end product, but they have a chance. They have a chance. Botafogo got a big win. They needed that because, of course, they'll have PSG and Atletico coming up next. Then Fluminense, Dortmund. Fluminense were the better team. Dortmund were absolutely shambolic. I mean, horrific. And it goes to what I said earlier. The gap between the European teams and South American teams, especially, is definitely not as big as we expected. Fluminense lacked the end product, but they outplayed Dortmund throughout the game. And Kobel was forced into action on several different occasions. Then the dark horse that I picked, River Plate, I got them reaching the quarterfinals, destroying Urawa. Urawa were a decent team as well, but River Plate, they feel comfortable in those conditions. And in particular, Mastuntuano, for me, Real Madrid got a fantastic player there. His football IQ for his age is unbelievable. Boca Benfica, this was a flat-out war. I didn't like the excessive time wasting I seen in the second half from Boca Juniors. I was very happy Benfica got the equalizer. But again, you could argue Boca were the better team. Benfica looked out of it. But getting that equalizer via Otamendi is very, very crucial, because now this group is going to be very simple. It's going to be who can concede less against Bayern and who can score the most against Oakland between Benfica and Boca Juniors. You'd back Benfica in terms of them scoring. I think the European teams should get better. It was the first match day. They'll start a little bit slow, but that's what it's going to come down to. I still back Benfica there, so I expect the top two to go through like that. Then, of course, yeah, Flamengo again looked decent. They needed to get the job done. This group is going to be, I think, a flat-out shootout between Flamengo and LAFC. Not to discount Esperance, who are good defensively, but LAFC have to beat Esperance. That's crucial for them, and then hope that Chelsea beat Flamengo. Then it becomes a flat-out shootout between LAFC and Flamengo. Then, obviously, we're seeing my Inter under Kivu. First match in charge. I thought we looked good. In the first half, at least, we looked very good. But here's the cause for concern for Inter. Monterrey, in my opinion, are the worst team in this group. River and Urawa are much better, and we didn't get the job done. Obviously, shout out to Sergio Ramos, coming up clutch again. But here's my problem with this. Waking up at 3 a.m., okay? Staying up until 5 a.m. and seeing the performance from Marcos Thuram when he came on, that's just not good enough. I understand the heat and blah, 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 and you're tired and blah, blah, blah. I don't care, okay? The least that you can do is put in an effort. I'm not saying get the ball, dribble past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players and score, but put in an effort. Don't look like you don't even care when you come on. But we were wasteful. But there were signs. It's a very different Inter team for sure under Kivu than Inzaghi. It looked more like a 3-4-2-1 as opposed to a 3-5-2. Good cameo from Luis Henrique as well. And hopefully we can build upon it in what's now become immediately a must-win game for Urawa. But you can tell that the Inter players are still suffering from that Champions League game. And yeah, as a result, I don't think we're going to end up going that far in this competition. Shout out to Mamelodi. I predicted they'll win. I think they'll go through. And best of luck to them. City with that, it was an exciting game because I got this game absolutely spot on. But I wanted to see how New Look City will line up. Unfortunately, it was the same problems for Manchester City as I seen last season. The wingers aren't good enough. The shout out for them, the standout player was Reindeers. You know, those of us that watched the Serie A last season, I told you he's the Serie A player of the season for a reason. Watching him play football I just love it. He goes always vertical, always forward, always direct. And he looked a joy to watch despite playing out of position. Foden, good to see him back doing what he does best. But of course, Sherky delivered a bit of a stinker. Manchester City need better overlapping fullbacks as well, because I didn't like what I seen with the wingers, and defensively they looked very suspectable. It was non-existent midfield. City play like that against Juventus, they'll be in big trouble, or against competent teams. With that, it's a shame because they were creators of their own downfall in a way most of the time. This guy here, number 4 on the wing, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He was absolutely fantastic, but it was individual errors that gave City goals. It was 2 mistakes. The goalkeeper and the right back going to sleep for the corner. But other than that, they look dangerous. I do think they can cause maybe problems to Juventus. We'll see. Then, of course, came Real Madrid Al Hilal, a game between 2 new managers leading new teams. I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed in what I seen from Real Madrid. There is, I told you I was expecting an immediate different Real Madrid under Xabi Alonso. It wasn't. It was the exact same old as what we seen under Ancelotti. Inzaghi, you can't use the new manager excuse because Inzaghi has just took over and he's got Al Hilal playing much better football than what Real Madrid were playing. Obviously, we'll get into the individual performance more in the match day and flops, but this midfield cannot play together. They cannot play together. Valverde, I've been saying this, he has to go out wide. Like when he plays central, you can't take as many touches as he does when he's got the ball in his feet. It's ridiculous. And Vinicius, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Then came the final 2 matches. Salzburg got a crucial win, which I anticipated and I expected. Then came, not a surprise, but I wasn't expecting Juventus to look as good as they did. They've confirmed Tudor. Under Tudor, they've only lost 1 game. Keep an eye on this player here. They got a player here, a perfect player as a wing-back to play in this back 3 system they have. And the front 3 looked absolutely exceptional with Kepperen behind them pulling the strings. I don't know if you guys seen that video with Juventus and Donald Trump. I absolutely died when I seen it, but it didn't look like they let it affect them. 5-0 dominant, and Juventus could, with that 5-0 win, also fight for first place for sure against Manchester City. We'll see what happens. But all in all, like I said, I've enjoyed what I've seen. Very excited now for Matchday 2. Into my team of the week, I put Ostari in goal for Inter Miami, saved the penalty. Crucial performance from him. Sasha Bowie had probably his best performance in a Bayern Munich shirt, but again, it doesn't really show much. This is Sergio Ramos, but he's not on his. Apologies, Ramos, for putting a new image under you. But yeah, I mean, rolling back the years, dominant performance from the champion of a player. Acuna could have been Cucurella here, but I gave Acuna with a fantastic cross. I gave him the spot. Foden and Vitinha. Could have been Reindeers and Kepperen Thuram here as well. Foden played in a much deeper position, especially out of possession. Olise and Musiala shining for Bayern. Conceição unlucky not to make the team. Yildiz, Gvara, and Colomwani were the others who made my team of the week in Matchday 1. My flops. Goalkeeper could have been anybody of the lower teams. I went to Rui Patricio, as terrible as I remember him. Of course, there's a certain expectation, right? We're not going to put Oakland players in here because it's what you expect from them, right? That's what we determine flops. And Trent had a debut to forget. Obviously, those that watch the Premier League and Liverpool play week in, week out, you would be no strangers to Trent out of possession. The problem is, with the ball, he gave them nothing. I mean, it was maybe more on Xabi, to be fair, because I don't understand exactly what the build-up was like. It was very, very slow, and obviously Real Madrid will have to improve. Acerbi lost Sergio Ramos, cost Inter the win. Galan showing why Atletico Madrid are desperate for a left back and they have to bring one in. The window will be reopened, by the way, before the knockouts. We'll see if there'll be any players coming in. Valverde, like I mentioned, not just the penalty miss. Put the penalty miss to a side, although I don't understand why he's taking it when Modric is on the pitch. But, for the love of God, him as a midfielder, and then in the second half playing as a number 6, literally in the Toni Kroos position, I don't understand. He's not comfortable with the ball. When Real Madrid fans compare him to other best midfielders, I don't understand, because for me, he's a wide player. His best football comes out wide. Alas. Renato Sanchez, my God. What a damn shame. What a fall from grace. Obviously, it's been confirmed now for some time that he's never going to reach the potential he was touted at, but I couldn't believe how bad he was against Boca. Adayemi, stinker. Speaking about stinkers, Beef Sherky, they're calling him. That was not good. That was, yeah. But it can't go anywhere now, Sherky. You know, onwards and upwards. The problem with Sherky when he plays with that nonchalant attitude, it looked 10 times worse. You know, he's trying to play like I'm unplayable, but then he's missing basic 5-yard passes. It wasn't good. Vinicius kicking off exactly where he left off. Best player in the world, you know, you guys told me. You compared him to Neymar, you know. Some even compared him to Ronaldinho, you cowards. The two up front. Pavlidis, I was expecting much, much more from. And Marcos Thuram, like I mentioned, if I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. and go to sleep at 5 a.m., the least you could do is put in a minimum effort. Not go on and pretending like you couldn't care and you'd rather be anywhere else. This Club World Cup, treat it with respect. Who cares about being European champions when you can be world champions? God damn it. Alas. Excited for Matchday 2. We'll be live for basically most of the games on Twitch and on YouTube. I'll catch you guys there. Phoenix out.